Hello everyone. Today I am going to explain about the design for testability. Okay. So here in our VLSS circuits, we are going to test our designs at different levels. If you consider that our VLSI design flow, in that one, we have front end and back end designs. Okay. Front end means first we will design, will write that is RTL coding or RTL logic. Okay. After that, we will do that the simulation. Why we will do the simulation means to verify whether our written code in terms of hardware description language is correct or not. If there any errors is there, we will verify by using the process of simulation. Okay, so this is also one type of testing at the front end point, and at the same time we'll go with the back end. Okay, so after completion of this synthesis, again we are testing our uh, design in terms of different testing tools. Okay, so by our CAD tools, we can as computer aided design tools we are going to use, and we are testing our circuits. Okay, like that at different points we are going to test our designs in VLSI. Okay, so here we have the same thing, that is design for testability. So what is design for testability, or the what is testability means? Okay, suppose if you have a circuit here, and if you apply some inputs to that, or if you apply some initial states or the known states to that, and if you observe and if you control, we are controlling that circuit by using our initial state, and at the same time if you observe the internal signal what happened, that is called as what testability. Okay, so the ability to put a design into a known initial state. Okay, suppose we have consider a flip-flop. Okay, here we have Q and Q bar are the two states, that is on state and off state, generally we will consider. Okay, so on state means, suppose if I know that the flip-flop is in the on state, that is at initial condition. Okay, initial condition means that one, and by applying that initial state, if you control and at the same time if you observe the internal operations or internal signal values, that is called as what testability. Okay, so the ability to put a design into a known initial state and then control and observe the internal signal values is called the testability. Okay, so for this testability, we have two basic properties, that is nothing but the controllability and observability. Okay, what is meant by controllability? Controllability is nothing but controlling of any circuit. Okay, controlling of any circuit by applying the input values. Okay, by applying the input values or the input states, or we can also call as the known test vectors or generator test vectors. Okay, that is nothing but what controllability, right? So suppose if you consider the best example here, the mass transistor is a voltage control device. Okay, why we call this one as voltage control device? Because the voltage we are applying at the gate to source, that determines the current flowing through the mass transistor. So here the controlling factor is what? The voltage that is applied at the gate to source. So it is the process. That means what? We are controlling our mass device by applying the gate to source voltage. Okay, similarly here we are controlling, okay, we are controlling our design or our testability or testing by applying the different inputs or different test vectors at the input side of the circuit. That is nothing but called controllability. Okay, and what is observability? After applying these inputs or these test vectors, so we will observe the output of that particular circuit or that particular design, or we can also call as what uh, design under test, that is DUT. Okay, so this is called as what? Observability, right? So here we have two basic properties to determine the testability of a node, or controllability, the ability to set a node to a specific value. That means if you consider a circuit, so we have different nodes. Okay, we can apply the inputs at a different node, input nodes here we have. Okay, suppose this is the circuit, this is one node here I have. So at this point I am applying my input values. So if you fix this node to a specific value, and if you control that testing, that is called as what? Controllability. And next what we have? Observability, the ability to observe the node values. Okay, node values, and at the same time, what are the outcomes if you apply uh, that inputs or specific value at that node. So it is called as what? Observability. Okay, we have input nodes and output nodes. At the input nodes, we will keep that node to a specific value or a specific test vector. And if you observe that corresponding values or the output values at the output node, that is called as what? Observability. Applying of inputs or test vectors at a particular node to a specific value is called as what? Controllability. And observing of those results of that particular input specific value is called as what? Observability. The ability to observe the node values, that is output node, we can call. Okay, so this is about the two properties what we have: controllability and observability. Okay, so design for testability refers to the hardware design styles or added hardware that reduces the test generation complexity. Okay, so here we will consider design for testability refers to a hardware design style. Due to that, what we are getting the benefit means we are going to reduce as the test generation or test vector generation complexities. Okay, as the number of transistors integrated into a single chip increases, the task of chip testing to ensure correct functionality becomes increasingly more difficult. Okay, suppose if you consider a small circuit that is placed on a breadboard. Okay, that is placed on a breadboard. Suppose it is a rectified circuit. Okay, so it is very easy because there is a limited number of diodes we have. Or if you consider a transistor as a switch, a transistor as an amplifier, single transistor, that is very easy to test that one. But if we place lakhs of more number of, in VLSI means it is around millions of transistors will be placed on a chip. Okay, so because of that, if you integrate millions of transistors, the testing also difficult to test that one, that chip. Okay, that means what here is, as the integration, that is scales of integration increases or the number of transistors on the chip increases, the testing is also difficult. Okay, the testing is also will difficult, right? So that is what here we have. Okay, so in production environment, many chips must be tested within a short time for timely to deliver the customers. To overcome such difficulty issues, design for testability has become ever more critical. Okay, so this is about the introduction to the design for testability, right? Next, we have then what are the different faults? We have fault types and models we will see here. Okay, so chip testing in the conventional sense is usually multi-purpose and attempts to detect the faults in fabrication, design, and failures due to the stressful operating conditions, namely the reliability problems. Okay, so here I already told that we will test our design at different levels. That is fine at the time of fabrication, at the time of design. Design is nothing but writing the coding for all these whatever the design you require. Okay, and failures due to stressful operating conditions. Stressful operating conditions means some environmental noises, and we are getting at the time of working of that particular circuit. Depending on that also we will get some faults. These are the different faults we are getting at different levels, at the fabrication level, at the design level, and some failures will be obtained due to the stressful operating conditions, namely the reliability problems. Okay, so next, input test vectors are delivered and applied to a device under test. So what is that? The device under test, or we can also call as circuit under test. Okay, suppose if you want to test a particular design, okay, that is called as what? A particular device, that is called as what? Device under test, or we can also call as what? Circuit under test here. Okay, right? So input test vectors are devised and applied to the device under test, or we can also call. So whatever the circuit you are going to test, that circuit is called as what? Circuit under test or device under test. Okay, then the measured outputs are compared with the expected correct responses to determine whether the DUT is good or bad. Okay, right. So that means what? So you are applying some input values, that is input test vectors. Generally here the test vectors we call instead of inputs, right? So input test vectors are devised and applied to the device under test. After that, what we have to do? Applying of that is nothing but the controllability, and observing of the outputs is called as what? We call this what? Observability. By observing or by taking those output values for the given test vectors, we will verify those outputs with the actual expected correct responses. Okay, suppose if you consider here AND gate, I will take simple example here. So AND gate here I have, so A, B are out inputs and O is the output. So here I have 1 1. I have to get what for AND gate? So it is AND gate. Okay, 1 1 means 1 I have to get, 0 1 means we'll get 0, 1 0 means we'll get 0, and 0 0 means we'll get 0. So this is the truth table for an AND gate. Suppose I want to test this AND gate. That means what? I will apply the input test vector. Suppose it is 1 1. Okay, and I know that what is the expected waveform, or sorry, expected output. Okay, so now what I will do is I don't first I will apply these inputs. So A is equal to 1 and B is equal to 1. I will observe the output. Okay, I will observe the output. If the output I got is 1, I will compare that output with the known values or the expected correct outputs, so that if you compare those two, if the obtained output is same as that of expected output, then we can say that our design is correct, or our device under test is correct. Okay, like that we will perform the testing here. Okay, so that is what here input test vectors are devised and applied to the device under test or circuit under test as it stimuli. Then the measured outputs compared with the expected correct responses to determine whether the DUT is correct or not. Okay, the design is correct or not, or the design under test or device under test is correct or not, we will verify by comparing the expected correct output or correct responses with the obtained responses for the given input test vectors. So that is called as here the process what we are going to take. Okay, so in addition to the test problem, the generation of correct test vectors to detect all the model faults and design errors in complex chips, either manually or through an automatic test pattern generation. Okay, so in addition to the test problem, the generation of correct test vectors is also a difficult. Okay, so if you observe our VLSI testing, okay, so we will generate the test vectors. Okay, we will generate the test vectors. For that one, we will write coding for the testing test vectors to generate the test vectors. Okay, so that is what here, that is one point. Another point is we can also generate automatic test pattern generators. Test vectors will be generated by using automatic test vectors, that is test automatic test pattern generation. Okay, that is ATPG, right? So now we'll see what are the different faults we have and what are the different models we have here. Here we will limit our discussion to the faults caused by the physical defects. Okay, examples of physical defects includes defects in silicon substrate. Okay, so while fabricating or while preparing the substrate or while preparing the die, okay, silicon die, if any defects will be present in that one, then it will be a problem that is considered as the physical defects. Defects in silicon substrate. Next one is photolithographic defects. So what is photolithographic defects means here? While fabricating, while you are doing fabrication of NMOS or CMOS or any circuit, you are doing a fabrication means here we are going to use a photolithographic defect, photolithographic process. So what is that process? Okay, to transfer our design to make use of our design, we are using photolithographic process. What is that means? We will place, we will consider, suppose if it is a NMOS transistor, I have to form the source and drain and gate terminals. So I have to identify first where I have to place that source and drain. After identification, I will do the photolithographic process. That is nothing but we will use the photoresist and at the same time we will expose that one to the UV light. At that time of etching process, in this lithographic etching process, there will be up and downs in the material. At that point, we'll get some defects. That defects are called as what? Photolithographic defects. Okay. Next one, mask contamination and scratches. Okay. So if any scratches is there and mask contamination is also the same. That is at the time of photolithography, we are using the mask. Okay. Mask to place our UV light at the desired place, but on the photoresist. And after that, we'll etching out the photoresist. And at the same time, if any scratches will be obtained at the time of etching of the materials, unwanted materials, so that defects is called under physical defects also. Next one, mask contamination and scratches. Okay, that is one thing. So next one is, fourth one is process variations and abnormalities. If any process variation means, so first we'll use one process, after that sometime we'll change the process. Due to that, if any abnormalities we'll get, that is also under physical defects we call. Okay, and the very important one is here also we have, that is oxide defects. Okay, so what we are doing, we are placing, suppose if it is a NMOS transistor, we are placing what SiO2 layer to form the gates. Okay, that is nothing but metal oxide semiconductor gates. In that one, if any defects is that, those are called as what? Oxide defects. Okay, so these are the physical defects that what we have here. Those physical defects can cause the electrical faults and logical faults. The electrical faults includes, what are those electrical faults? We will see one by one here. So that is one, the physical defects, whatever I have mentioned here. Okay, so what happened is they will cause, okay, I have mentioned here, defects in silicon substrate, photolithography defects, mask contamination and scratches, and process variation and abnormalities, and oxide defects. So these physical defects, whatever I have placed here, they will cause electrical defects, and those electrical defects will cause the logical defects. Okay, so what are those electrical defects or electrical faults that will be caused by these physical defects? We'll see here. Okay, so the physical defects can cause electrical faults and logical faults. Okay, what happened here? The physical defects will cause the both electrical faults and at the same time logical faults. So what are the logical faults, electrical faults we have? That includes shorts. Okay, that is nothing but bridge faults we call. What is shorts and all those things we will see. What is shorts means, here if you observe that I will draw the one example here, and so that I will explain. So here we have what? So this is the gate, and this is what? SiO2. This is SiO2. What is shorting here? Shorting, and at the same time here I have the source and here I have the drain. Okay, source and drain for an NMOS transistor. So this is the P substrate. So what is the fault here? That is that brings the shorting, bridging faults, and open also. Okay, so here if you observe this one, this is the SiO2. If any oxide defects is there, that means at a particular point there is no oxide layer is present, this gate and substrate will be shorted. Gate and substrate will be shorted. Okay, so and at the same time gate and substrate is shorted, so there is no correct operation will takes place for this NMOS transistor. Similarly, another one is another fault we can also observe is open. Okay, so what is open faults? We'll consider one example that, and I will explain here. So these are the lists that affects due to the physical defects. Okay, that is electrical faults. So that is shorts, that is bridging faults, and second one is opens. Opens means open circuited here, Next one is transistor, stuck on, stuck open, stuck at 0, stuck at 1, like that will get due to these faults in the logical faults. That is transistor stuck on, stuck open. And next one is resistive shorts and opens. And next one is excessive change in the threshold voltage. And another one is excessive steady state currents. Why we will get excessive change in the threshold voltage means if you consider the P substrate or the substrate is connected with the source to the ground. Okay, if it is not happen, if you increases the more value of that source to substrate voltages, then there will be a increasing in this threshold voltage. Okay, so that is another physical defects that causes electrical faults. This is electrical fault, excessive change in the threshold voltage. And next one is excessive steady state currents. These are what the electrical faults, the name itself, it is there. Shorting and open, shortcut, short circuit and open circuit, and all these terms are belongs to the electrical faults. And now we'll go with the logical faults. The electrical faults in turn translated into the logical faults. Okay, physical defects will causes both electrical faults and logic faults, but mainly it is causes electrical defects or electrical faults. Those electrical faults is translated into the logical faults. How it will be, I will consider one example and I will explain. Okay, so that is what here the electrical faults in turn can be translated into logical faults. Okay, electrical faults in turn can be translated into logical faults. The logical faults includes logical stuck at 0 or stuck at 1. That is logical stuck at 0 and stuck at 1 means if you consider suppose this is the one circuit. Okay, 1 second. So if you consider this, this is the circuit here. Okay, and these outputs of both AND gates are applied to the OR gate. Suppose here this diagram is not coming perfectly, but this one is AND gate. I am taking this one is A, B, and A bar and B bar. Okay, so and I am taking output here. Suppose here at this point there will be a loss stuck at 0. Stuck at 0 means always for this A input the 0 will be applied, even though if you change any other value, so it will stuck at 0 means it will always applies only 0 value. Okay, instead of changing value. So always you will get the A is equal to 0, for A equal to 0 output only at this point. Okay, if you change these values but we cannot get the correct value, okay, for the given inputs. So that is stuck at 0 and stuck at 1. And next one is slower transition, that is nothing but delay faults you will get. And the next one is what and bridging or bridging. Okay, and bridging and or bridging, and all those things we'll see here. And next we'll go with this one, the relationship between the physical defects, electrical faults and logical faults can be explained by using a simple NOR 2 gate. Okay, by taking simple NOR gate, so I am going to explain here what are the different physical defects and what we will get these electrical faults and all those things. Okay, so here we have all the defects I am going to explain here. Okay, so here before going to that we'll go with the what is controllability and what is observability definitions. The controllability of a circuit is a measure of the case, okay, with which the controller can establish a specific signal value at each node by setting values at the circuit input terminals. Okay, controllability of a circuit is a measure of the ease or difficult with which the controller is whom, that is test engineer, can establish a specific signal value at each node by setting values at the circuit input terminals. That is controllability. Next, what is observability means? Observability is a measure of measure of the ease or difficult with which one can determine the signal value at any logic node in the circuit by control its primary input and observing the primary output. Okay, so what I told, by applying the inputs or test vectors is called as controllability, and observing the corresponding outputs is called as what? The observability. Okay, the degree of controllability and observability, or the degree of testability of a circuit, can be measured with respect to whether the test vectors are generated deterministically or randomly. Okay, so the degree of controllability and observability, or the degree of testability, can be measured by considering whether the test vectors are generated, okay, deterministically or randomly. So depending on that, we can uh, measure the testability of the circuit. Okay, so the design for testability, or design of testability. Okay, so this is the definition of controllability and observability, right? There are deterministic procedures for the test generation for combinational circuits, such as D algorithm, which uses a recursive search procedure advancing one gate at a time, and backtracking, okay, if necessary, until all the faults are detected, right? So here we are going to use for combinational circuit the D algorithm to test. Okay, so it will test each and every gate one by one, right? And if necessary, to identify perfect testing, will go with the backtracking also. That is the algorithm. Okay, but that means what? For each gate, each and every gate we have to verify, means it will take a lot of time. So that disadvantage of this D algorithm is nothing but it take a lot of time to test. Okay, next one is, to overcome such shortcomings, many improved algorithms have been introduced, such as path-oriented decision making. First one is path-oriented decision making, PODEM we call, and fan-out oriented test generation. Okay, so these two are the techniques that are introduced to avoid this D algorithm limitations. Okay, next, sequential circuit test generation is several orders of magnitude more difficult than these algorithms. Okay, because the sequential circuit is involves a combination circuit in combination with the memory elements. So it is difficult to test these circuits as compared with the combinational circuits. Okay, so in the next class we will see what are these different faults we have. Okay, and how these electrical faults and logical faults can be related. Okay, so we will see this one in the next class. Okay, in the coming discussion. Thank you for watching. Subscribe our channel.